Carl Potter, and today we're going to talk about the art of safety. I talk about this a lot in personal in upfront live presentations, but today I'm going to give you, as you're in your safety meeting, safety contact, or whatever we're doing here that you're viewing this for, is to help you understand what the art of safety is. And the art, as you see in the background here on my board, is an acronym. And I'm going to explain that to you in such a way that you'll remember this, so that when you're out there on the job, you'll be thinking about how you can practice the art of safety for one reason only. And we're only viewing this for one reason. I'm only doing this for one reason, and that is to prevent every workplace injury. And that's for you, the person sitting in your seat, or if you're standing around watching this, whatever the case may be, you are the one we're trying to help to go out there and make the right decisions and do the job the way you know how to do it, so that you can go home to your family tonight without injury. So let's get started right here. The A in art, again, art of safety. And this comes, by the way, from a guy named Sun Tzu, who wrote a wonderful book on bamboo about 500 BC. And he wrote a book called The Art of War. Well, after studying that book and everything, I kind of digested it, looked at it, and began to understand that what he was trying to teach us is the art of safety, or the art of success, or the art of anything that we go after in life, for that matter, is about this art that we're going to talk about here. But let's apply this today to the art of safety, and let's take it to that point so that you can do your work today without an injury. So let's look at this. The A. First thing, first rattle out of the box is account, and I'll get this right here in just a moment, bear with me, is accountability. And accountability is one of those things that we don't think much about, except that we have to practice accountability to ourselves first, and that's the big motivator right there. If we set ourselves up and we say, look, I'm a professional, I will hold myself accountable to what I do. For instance, one of the things that I do, love it, I am a pilot. I love to fly, and many of you that have heard me speak before have heard me talk about aviation. It's a passion for me, and I learn a lot about safety in it. But accountability is a big part of going out here and getting into an airplane, firing up, run down the runway, take off, and then make it back, land, and do it safe, and make it a safe flight. So one of the things about accountability is I have to have accountability partners, or people that will hold me accountable, and one of those is my wife. My wife holds me accountable. And so when we're getting ready to fly somewhere, she's watching me to make sure that I'm doing everything. Am I doing my pre-flights? And when we get ready to take off, have I done everything that she knows, because she's watching? And then if I seem to get in a hurry, or I seem to be bothered about something, she'll ask me questions like, are you sure that you've checked everything? Now, the part of the accountability for me is, I want to look at her and go, look, you're not a pilot. How can you ask me that? But you see, we set it up well ahead of time so that she can ask me those things, so that she holds me accountable. And I've told her, I want you to hold me accountable for flying safe. And so one of the things we do is that we watch out for each other. Now, in that case, sometimes I have to hold her accountable, because maybe she's not doing what she needs to do in the airplane at that time, and that might mean getting something out or moving around the airplane or something. So I have to talk to her, and she can't get mad at me. And you can imagine being married and trying to do this. It's incredible. In fact, at this point in life, I'm teaching her to fly an airplane, and we've been told several times, you don't want to do that as a married couple, because that's a real stress. But one of the things that we've practiced that's really helped us is that accountability. because she's used to holding me accountable. I'm used to holding her accountable. So now we can kind of move into the stages of letting me, her allowing me to teach her to fly. So accountability is a huge deal. It's huge. And so looking at each one of, you're looking around the room with the people you're with right now in the classroom, in this safety contact, viewing this video, is think about the people around you. How can you look at them and say, hey, hold me accountable. Hold me accountable and I'll hold you accountable. And the result of that is going to be that that you get to go home to your family and go do what you like to do on the side, whatever it is. You're going to go fishing this weekend, tonight. You're going to go to the Boy Scout, the Boy Scout meeting with your kids or whatever. You get to do that because you were safe today and because everybody else was holding you accountable. But number one, guess who was the most accountable person? You. You were holding yourself accountable for doing what you needed to do while everybody else was watching out for you. So, what do we hold each other accountable for? Okay, that's the R, the responsibility. And responsibility is one of those things that we talk a lot about, but you have to be held accountable for what you're responsible to do, whether it's wearing your safety glasses or wearing your seatbelt or driving the speed limit or doing your briefing, safety briefings in the proper manner. Whatever it is, that responsibility is yours. You're responsible for following safety procedures. If you're doing confined space entry, do it correctly. It's a responsibility. It's a professional responsibility. So you need to do it. But at the same time, going back, you want to be responsible, so you need to have people holding you accountable. And when we do that, then we make sure that we do it correctly, and the chances of us at the end of the job, at the end of the day, being uninjured go way up. I mean, it increases astronomically. So we want to do that. So responsibility is one of those things you can do, and you all know, I mean, think about it yourself. You want to be around what kind of people? Responsible people. So you need to be a responsible person at the same time. And we all love it when somebody else says, hey, look out for me, watch out for me, and make sure that I do what I'm supposed to do. And it's okay if you point those things out to me. That's all that means. Now, what does all this lead to? We got A-R-T. We got accountability, we got responsibility. If you do these two things, the big T right here, the big one, and this is huge, folks. This is big. This is monumental. It's enormous. Trust. This is something that, boy, that is big. Trust. If you're accountable to yourself and others are accountable to you and you're accountable to them and you're working with that to do what you're supposed to do, in other words, what you're responsible to do, then you're going to develop trust. A huge amount of it. How much is trust worth? How hard is it to get trust? How hard is it? I mean, ask yourself right now, how hard is it? Well, it's tough, but how easy is it to lose it? How long does it take to lose trust? No, just like that. It doesn't take anything. All you got to do is screw up once and bam, you know, you're back to rebuilding. So it's a huge withdrawal when we're distrusted or we're not trustworthy. It's a big withdrawal from that bank account we call trust. And so we've got to develop those things. We develop by being accountable and being accountable for the things we're responsible for. That develops the trust. So the A-R-T, accountability, responsibility, trust. Here's how we apply it to safety. When we go out there, number one, we've got rules to work by, we've got procedures to work by, we've got things we're supposed to do. And, you know, sometimes we look at it and go, well, you know, I could get this job done a little quicker. I could get, you know, a little more of a pat on the back. And my boss would think a lot more of me if I got more done, if I didn't have to follow all the safety procedures. But the safety procedures exist for a reason. When we work with a company and we come in and look at the rules, regulations, the procedures that company has adopted, and they have their safety book, that safety book, when you open that safety book and you read it, those become federal rules. Those are federal OSHA rules, state OSHA rules. In other words, when OSHA walks in, they look at that book and they go, hey, look, this is what you're supposed to do according to this book. It's signed off, it's accepted by your company. So it doesn't matter what quote OSHA says to do, because your safety book has probably met or exceeded that rule. Now, that doesn't mean that everything in your rule book is going to be covered. So you've got to be accountable and responsible to the people you're working around to listen to them and hear them out. Hear them out when they say, you know, I'm looking at this job and I just see some things that we really ought to take a good look at before we move forward. Boom. They trust you right there and they want to work with you. So this is just a quick lesson on the art of safety that I hope you'll take and begin to apply it so that you can go home every day without injury. And guess what? That's hitting the goal that nobody gets hurt. This is Carl Potter, and I'll see you later back in the classroom.